In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Hello and regards. This is Muhammad Suleiman Ahmadzai with a new session for you, dear friends. Continuing our lesson, we have something else. When we select a drive, in the computer section, when we choose a drive, something called Drive Tools opens up. In Drive Tools, there's another thing called BitLocker, which I'll show you. Now, let's see how these work. Let's get to it. Try to remember, this is the very last part. We use this when we connect a CD writer to the computer. If the CD writer is connected to the computer, or even if the CD-ROM is empty. This is so that when you click eject with the mouse, the tray opens automatically without me having to switch anything. It just opens by itself. There's a switch here. If we use the physical switch, and when we eject here, it performs the action. This is to control its shortcut. Right now, it doesn't work because I don't have a CD writer at all and it's not connected. Finish burning and erase this disk. For example, if the erase function does the delete operation, it's like formatting and so on. If you have a CD inside the CD writer, let's say my CDs are rewritable, one is rewritable. If you put a rewritable CD in the drive that you've already burned before and now you want to format it, you select it again, and that's why they call it erase this disk. It erases it for you. Or for example, when you want to burn something, there's a burning option. You can choose finish burning for it. For instance, it's like when you burn something and then you want to cancel it again. A CD only works when there's a CD writer or at least a CD-ROM in general. At first, we're working with a CD-ROM. I'm just opening and closing the tray, and this only matters when we have a CD writer. It's not necessary for it to be inside the computer itself. You can buy one separately, connect its cable, and it'll work. Alright, try to remember, we have something called autoplay. Autoplay decides what to do with removable drives. For example, when we insert a CD or plug in a flash drive, these are called removable drives. When we put a CD in, for instance, it might have a setup file on it. For example, it's the setup for a software, or it might give us 3 options. If we choose the first option, it means the setup on the CD will automatically install. In other words, it starts automatically. As soon as you insert the CD, it begins. If we choose the second option, it means that the setup is on the CD, but we decide ourselves whether to install it or not. And if we choose the third option, take no action, it means that when we insert the CD, it won't start installing automatically and the CD will just open. This kind of interaction also applies to flash drives. For example, what if we want to completely format this drive? Erase it. Erase everything that's on it. For example, when you right-click on the flash drive and select Format, what does it do for you? It erases everything on it for you. Second, you actually have another technique. Try to see if we want to identify some shortcuts. There's a shortcut that has default shortcuts. For example, it's clearly written that Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, these are some simple shortcuts. But some don't have shortcuts. For instance, this format option doesn't have a shortcut. It doesn't show its shortcut there. So what do you do then? If you press Alt, Alt will automatically show you its shortcuts. Meaning, just by being here in this section, for example, pressing Alt then V performs the format action. Pressing C does the optimize action, and you can see these options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From the File menu, if we press F, it should open the file. Inside the file, for example, it was written Ana in its entirety. Those have their own shortcuts. Each has a separate shortcut. You just press Alt and then you can work with the letters again. Clean up on the disk for us. What does it do with your incomplete files, empty spaces, and duplicate files? It reduces them. We say optimize, which we talked about before. We said it's used to optimize a drive, which helps increase its speed, and it's good if we do these tasks on our mobile or computer every day. We have something called BitLocker. BitLocker is a feature that's been added to newer versions of Windows. Before, if it wasn't available, in Windows 7 and earlier versions, we used to install software to do this, to set a password for the drive, to encrypt the drive. But now, we can do this directly through Windows itself. There's really no need for that anymore. There are actually several ways to do this. One of the easiest ways is to just do it right here on the drive. But before we even do this, sometimes in Windows 10 and 11, it's not like that. Before Windows 10 and 11, this doesn't work directly. It needs to be enabled first. In Windows 10 and 11, it's enabled by default, but in earlier versions of Windows, it's not. To enable it, first we need to go to Manage. Inside Manage, there's something we need. Services and Applications. We go to Services. As we said, there are a lot of tasks here. One of its tasks is exactly this. We go to BitLocker. In this section, we actually click Start. When we click Start, BitLocker gets enabled. In fact, this means it's enabled. We had definitely disabled it, so here it shows as disabled. By default, it's enabled. In Windows 10 and 11, it's enabled. If disabled, click Start to enable it. Otherwise, it won't work. If it shows up like this, it means it's currently enabled. After it's enabled, if we actually want to set a password for a drive, there are several ways to do it. If we want to do this through Settings, we go to Settings. Here, we go to System. Here, we should have something called About BitLocker Settings. The second way is to go directly to the control panel. After that, BitLocker Drive Encryption. Here, for example, which drive? Drive C, Drive D. Do you want C or do you want D? And the third way is that we do it right from within my PC. We right-click on it. We select Turn on BitLocker for it. Or, just like the way we have here, called BitLocker. We just click on it and select Turn on BitLocker. Then it asks you, okay, choose a password for the drive. For example, I choose a password for it. For instance, I will now enter something that looks like this example. If we want, for example, we can select this option as well. So what does it do with your password? It saves it either on your card or on a flash drive. Well, we can tell it to do that. Later, I can also save it on my desktop. If we remember the password, we can also save it on a flash drive. Anyway, that's how I remember it. We click Next. It asks us whether we want to save this password on a flash drive or, for example, print it out. Or do something so it gets saved in your Microsoft account. For now, I'll tell it to just save a file on the desktop. Again, whenever I do anything, or you can also save it on a flash drive. Alright, we tell it to save it on the desktop. Then we select Next. We choose the first option. We select Encrypt Use Disk Space Only, New Encryption Mode, and click Start Encrypting. This encryption process will start. On some computers, it works fast. On some computers, it works slowly. For now, since our computer's drive has almost 60 or 70 gigabytes of data, that's why the process will take a bit of time. Alright, in the end, it's done, and when we close this Corruption of Drive D is completed window. Now it's encrypted. Now it's available for us, and if we click, it will open. The password isn't showing now. Right now, it doesn't have any password or anything. When we need to restart, here we say, give us some information. So now something about the encryption comes up here. A notification appears. It gives information about it, that the encryption has been completed. When we restart the computer, what does it do? It asks for the password again, but just once. So if we restart it, we should stop this video so we can actually see that it's now locked. Right now, you see the lock is open, meaning it's not locked yet, but it only works once. After restarting, I'll show you. This is a good procedure. Locking the drive is a good idea so you don't have to do anything extra, but whenever you want, you can just come back here, and if you want to turn it off, you can do it with Change Password. If you want to change the password, you can use Manage to take it out of this mode again. You just need to turn it off, and then it will be gone. But if you want to change its password, make sure to back up its data first. For example, if you remove the password, just forget about it. The password will be deleted. The password will be gone, but the encryption will remain unless you want to turn it off. Okay, so the password will be removed and it will be completely deactivated. Or if we restart the computer, we'll see that it asks us for a password. And finally, dear friends, I ask you that if you found these videos helpful, please like them to support us and help the channel grow. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you in the next sessions. Goodbye.